legends, Joey here from the Ruck Infringement Podcast, doing our Ruck Report for another week. What a fantastic week of rugby league it was. If you are tuning in, very happy for you to leave comments, and I will answer them as much as I can. Comment about anything you like. It could be rugby league, could be not rugby league related, but try and get into rugby league. It'd be fantastic. All right, let's get straight into it. I'm going to actually bring in a friend of the show in this one, so just bear with me to see if I can actually do that. How do I invite somebody? I found it. All right, I'm going to do that right now. I hope everyone had a fantastic week of rugby. When the Origin teams drop, Indy Murray, great little shout out there too. Indy, not 100% sure. I think it's probably going to be around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Michael Chammas has dropped an Origin team in, a predicted one, an expected lineup for the Blues. So, interesting. I think that'll be pretty close to it. If you haven't seen that, look, I'll wait till it drops to put it in our story. But head over, I think it's on Clarkie's Rugby League column where you'll see the expected lineup there. Some interesting thoughts. Do we want to talk Origin first? Let's chat Origin. Sorry about that. Let's chat Origin before we chat anything else, and then let's talk about the week that was. So Origin, a couple of weeks away. Blues v Maroons, going to be a fantastic game. Now some Origin picks. Look, for me, a little smoky that I had was Max King. I had him playing off the bench. There's a lot of talk that he's going to be starting in this team at number 10, which is really exciting. I think he deserves it. He's had a fantastic season. He's had a fantastic couple of years. So really good to see if Maxi King gets a spot there. Terrell May's the big one. Terrell May apparently is not being selected for New South Wales, which is surprising for me because I think the form Terrell May's been in has been incredible. Didn't help himself with the post the other day when he was playing the video game and talking about the Origin selection. So probably didn't do himself any favours in that game. But he's an interesting one. I think they will go Payne Haas, although he did pick up a little injury in the game. Tank Stevens, shout out, mate. How are you? Great to see you. How about those doggies, Joey? Chee-hoo! Mate, they certainly played well. We'll get into the game soon, just chatting a bit of Origin for now. But really, really interesting where they go. I think Dylan Edwards will retain the spot. I had Pappenhausen named in my team. I think Pappenhausen deserves it. I think Pappenhausen has been really good this season. I think Teddy's probably been close to the best fullback this year, with Edwards probably coming in at third, just based on how Penrith's season's going. But he is the incumbent, so I think he'll keep the spot. Teddy, probably don't want to move backward. Teddy is quite old now, so you don't want to move backward in that sense. It's either you go Edwards and then you and then you pivot to Pappenhausen. He's probably the next option. Tank Stevens, I don't think mate is ready for Origin, to be honest. Yeah, I think Laurie came out and said that as well. Look, it's very true. I think he's a real interesting prospect. Like tonight, he carved up. Even though the Tigers lost, he had a fantastic game again. If you play fantasy or Supercoach, 109 in fantasy, 120 odd in Supercoach. So he's getting the stats and he's carving up. And the guy's got a motor. And as a Chooks man myself, it was sad to see him go, but there was a lot more to that, which I can't speak about on a public forum. But yeah, it's a real interesting one. I think second row will speak for themselves. I think Crichton and Martin will be there. Hudson Young probably on the bench. Spencer Leniu Watson on the bench as well. But the teams will be named very, very soon. And Tank Stevens said, I don't think Laurie is right option either. He kills my life as an Origin coach. Yeah, mate, look, it's interesting, isn't it? Going back to him as a coach is definitely not what everyone had on their 2025 bingo card. But he's yeah, I don't know. It's it's an interesting one. Matthew Johnstone said Edwards hasn't done enough to be selected. Teddy has been by far the best, and we need to name the best squad in stats. I completely agree with you, mate. I completely agree. Hey, got on here he is. So we've got the we're honoured. We got the producer with us, Reese. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, mate. How you going?
Fantastic. Great to have you on. Really, really exciting. Of course, your first time on the Ruck Report. Long time, long time producer of the Ruck infringement. But no, great to have you, mate. We're just talking a bit of Origin. Of course, I dropped in our group chat, our personal group chat, the Origin team. We're going through a
Mm.
couple of names now. You were telling me that you based your team a lot of what you saw, but also off some stats as well, mate. Do you want to give us some smokies that you had in your team that may get selected?
I don't, honestly, man, I don't have a lot of smokies. I just think there's a lot of people in there who should be a part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
I've
nice.
looked at Ryan Pappenhausen. I think for like to start game one, we should have a look at a couple of different names and
Yeah.
then adjust accordingly. Um, I'd really like to see Mitch Barnett have another crack because I think he had an excellent game three. Um, But yeah, apart from that, yeah, not too much else. As you know, I haven't watched a lot of footy this year,
Yeah, well,
so I'm just trying to do the best that I can. But you know, I love Origin.
it's interesting you mentioned Mitchy Barnett. I heard today apparently he got asked to stay in Sydney after the
Mm.
Warriors game this week. Sorry, stay in Queensland after the Warriors game this week. So I think for me that's an instant that he's a lock in the team. Tank Stevens said, "How is Burton not in the conversation at 14 at worst?" Mate, I got to agree. I think the dogs are flying at the moment. The fact that Burton hasn't even been in the conversation for 14 does astound me. I think the reason they're going to go with a Connor Watson is more so because he can cover hooker. I probably wouldn't play Burton as a hooker. Burton's a great utility, but he probably plays, centre, half, 5'8". You're probably not going to play Burton at hooker, whereas I think you can play Watson. You got that more versatility, but it's definitely a great shout. And the
Mm.
team, there was a question before. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, but there is a the team will drop around, I reckon, between now and 9 o'clock. But let's get into the Ruck Report for this round. Now, we go back to Friday night, Parramatta versus Newcastle Knights, the River Slugs, as we call them. Finally getting a win, 28-6. Fantastic performance, this one. Thanks, Stephen. Sorry, just said he played centre there before. Also, yeah, exactly. So well, he'd be a fantastic shout. Parramatta getting the win, 28-6. Now, if you're a Parramatta fan, this was a fantastic game for you. Zach Lomax came back in style, scored 2 tries. Mitch Moses was everywhere. I thought Parramatta were really good. Reese, we've chatted a lot over the past few weeks about the Newcastle Knights and their coach Adam O'Brien. Mate, it's got to be close to being sacked.
Alarm bells are sounding, surely. Yeah,
It's got to
I
be,
just
mate.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, yeah, you can do what you can for your team, but
Yeah.
sometimes you're just not up to it, and it takes a big man to either walk away or yeah, not.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think I mean, me personally, I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned that Knights would get the win at Magic Round, they would lose the week after, and O'Brien would be sacked either the week after that or not long after that. And at the moment, I'm 2 from 3. He won at Magic Round, he lost the week after, and he's lost again. And apparently he's just lost the sheds. He's lost the players. I don't think they really want to play with him. I think Stephen said Knights are up and down like a bride's night. Their biggest issue is a lack of quality depth. Exactly. And also one of their biggest issues is that they're playing their uh, their best halfback in New South Wales Cup in Jackson Hastings. And in my opinion, no matter what's happened off the field, whether it's money, whether it's there's a few rumours going around there, but I think Jackson needs to be in the starting squad. He's the best halfback in the team, so he definitely needs to be there. But look, credit to the Parramatta Eels, fantastic win. We jump into our second Friday night game. It was the Sydney Roosters against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Reese, this one hurt, mate.
Do you want to walk away from this one, or do you want to
Oh
just
no, no, we're talking about it. This one hurt. Now I watched this and I did say before the game I could sense a sneaky upset coming. It just had a feel about it that the Chooks were up for this game. They led 14-0 at the break, and we know it doesn't matter how much you lead by against the Bulldogs, they'll come back and win, as they showed against Canberra last week, 20-0 up, 20-0 down at halftime and winning 32-20. This game was a fantastic game, though. I loved it. From kickoff to 80 minutes, I absolutely loved this game. Where the Roosters lost this game, mate, was that soft tries through the middle. Now, you can't do that against a team like the Bulldogs. You got to defend for 80 minutes. But mate, let's talk about our mate, my favourite player at the moment, Mark Nwanganitawaze, and how the hell did he score that try?
Oh, mate, carrying the team at some stages. It's just, um, yeah, like you said, just get ahead, stay ahead,
Yeah,
attack it
yeah.
over and over and over again. You know, and another try is just, a loss, really.
It's funny. I tried to emulate what he did on the weekend. You go out in the backyard, you get the footy. So he pretty much hopped along the sideline, and while hopping, kicked the ball off the foot that was in the air from hopping, and then managed to score a try. It was incredible. But I tried on the weekend. It's very hard to kick a ball while you're hopping. Tank Stevens said, Marky Mark's try, best ever. Yeah, it's going to come close. I reckon it's top 10 best tries of all time that I've seen. So
Of course,
incredible
but
stuff there.
if
Incredible
the
stuff.
if the rest of the teams are coming with you,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you're right.
call it what it is. It's just, yeah.
Look, it was really good for me. The press conference was the best thing because usually you don't hear Robbo be disappointed in the team. Usually he's like, "Oh yeah, it's all happy, blah 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 blah." But he actually said this week it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing to see us get so close, take the lead, and lose it because this Roosters team, everyone wrote us off at the start of this year. We lost 8 players. Everyone said they've got a reserve grade side. They're not going to win many games. Blah 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 blah. You come to round 11, we're one win outside the top eight. No one's given us credit. We're taking on the team coming first. We almost win, and then yeah, you lose it like that. It is heartbreaking, but I think these young blokes will learn a lot from that. Tank Stevens said Bulldogs worked him over perfectly, and fatigue paid dividends towards back end of that game. Yeah, Marky Marks. Catching was not very good. He
Mm.
bombed a couple of opportunities, but look, that's footy. On to next week. Let's move into first Saturday game. The Wars against the Dolphins. Warriors getting it done 16-12. Quick shout out to Ryan Fancy, of course, the dongle. He wrote tough loss, great game though it was, mate. Now Warriors v Dolphins. What a game this was too. The Wars, they keep on keeping on. I think that's 5 wins in a row now. If you're a Wars supporter, you should be absolutely ecstatic at the moment, sitting in the top three, and they're just looking so good, mate. I tipped the Dolphins in this game. The Wars, mate, is it great to see a team like New Zealand dominating for such a because they're so far away from Sydney? I think it's really good to see. What do you reckon?
Oh, for sure. I just think, for the variety of the competition, and yeah, the Dolphins.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Like, you can say yes or you can say no, and I think even if you say no, you're probably going to be in the wrong. But credit to them for getting as close as they did.
Yeah,
It's
look,
still good.
they
It's still good to see. But not just for the Warriors, but I just think for the league in the whole. I think we need to push that whole sort of,
yeah,
I don't know what the word is, like,
100%.
yeah,
No, I agree
yeah,
with you, man. I agree.
like we're going to bring Perth in at some point. We're going to bring PNG at some point. I think now more than ever, it's important to push that with the
Yeah,
Warriors, like
for sure.
all round sort of skill set.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan Fancy said, "Are we convinced the Wires are the real deal?" I am. I am this year. If this was
Where do they
last year,
stand? Oh
they're I
yeah,
think
you
there's
said two.
I think they're second. Yeah, either second or third. Uh, then Tank Stevens said, I think. Sorry, I'll just go back up to that comment. He said, I think Wires are one injury in the halves away from their season being derailed. I got to agree. I think. Luke Metcalf's been arguably their best this year, but if he does get injured, it's going to be very tough. They do have Tanner Boyd sitting in the wings, who's a fantastic player, but look, are the Wires the real deal? Could we see a Wires Bulldogs grand final? Time will tell.
No,
Jumping
no.
in,
I was going to say,
yeah, mate.
are they more of a real deal compared to the Bulldogs? Like,
Yeah.
you've seen a team that's dominated for most of the match, and then you've
Mhm.
seen Bulldogs coming from behind. Yeah, they're on the
Yeah.
top of the ladder, but
Yeah.
there's only so many times you can come from behind and win a match.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I
Like
got to agree.
you guys have talked. Obviously out of it, but you guys talked about as
Yeah.
much as possible. It's like put them up against the best.
Mm,
If they can keep it close and win it, then maybe
yeah.
we can be convinced that they're the real deal. So maybe we can, look at the Warriors Bulldogs grand final.
Oh man, honestly, it would be incredible. We haven't seen that ever, and
Mm,
if it does happen, it'd be great. But mate, we'll jump into our second game. It was Manly against the North Queensland Cowboys at our favourite stadium there in Townsville. But Manly getting the
unnamed.
win. Yeah, unnamed for life. Manly getting the win 24-6 now. Very interesting because Manly have been woeful this season so far. Sorry to our Manly supporters there. If you are watching live, I like the team. They've just been woeful at the moment.
Mm,
Tommy Turbo just hasn't fired. Came back strong in this game. I thought Manly were really good. Mick Makes Art, who is our part-time social media guy, he wrote Manly and then five exclamation marks. Tank Stevens, Penrith won a premiership in '03 from coming from behind and in the vast majority of their games. I think he's talking on dogs there. But Manly getting a win in a great game. I had the Cowboys in this one. I thought Cows were specials at home in Townsville. I thought they'd come through. Manly's starting to find some form. It's scary, but heading into Origin will hurt them. Of course, they'll lose Cherry Evans
mm.
most likely to Queensland. But apart from that, they're pretty unscathed. I don't think Tommy Turbo gets picked. Jake
No, I don't think so.
Trbojevic does have an injury, so he won't get picked either.
I wouldn't pick him anyway. To be honest with you,
Yeah, yeah,
like he played most of the last Origin series on the bench
as captain.
as captain, and Isaiah Yeo was stepping in. That's why
Yeah.
I've named Isaiah Yeo as a captain. I just think
Yeah, me too. It just makes
it
more
make, it, make,
sense,
it,
mate.
it makes more sense. Like I don't want to discredit Gerbo, but it's like if you're going to sit on the bench as captain,
Yeah,
get off the field.
yeah,
um,
I agree. It was a
I don't
weird
want to
pick.
I don't want to take away from the Seagulls win. Like that was a cracker,
Yeah,
especially when the Cowboys should have been up for this one.
yeah, for sure, absolutely. So where to for the Cowboys next? They're going to lose a lot for Origin, so they're going to be very,
Mm,
very underdone in the next few weeks, which will be probably a detriment to their game. Mick Makes Art said, I don't understand why Corey Waddell is in the team. He was hopeless when he was with us first before he went to the Dogs, and he's just as bad now. So he's returned from the Dogs back to Manly. Corey's not too bad, mate. You know, he gets the job done. He's in your second row. I mean, isn't that what you want? But nah, look, I can't comment on players in general just because I haven't watched too much of his games. But
mm, mm,
yeah, look, Manly are probably missing a prime second rower. Definitely something they need. But let's jump into our last game of Super Saturday. It was Melbourne against the Sharks. Now,
mm.
another one I lost. Credit to the Sharks in this one, getting the win 31-26. Now, of course, you and I know a lot of Sharks fans. Of course, the Dongle, big Sharks fan on our pod. Good mate of mine and yours, Doug, as well. And
Mm.
I was on the phone to Dougie last night, and he was absolutely ecstatic, mate. Sharky's getting it done. Up Cronulla was playing through everywhere, and just incredible scenes. If you're a Cronulla fan, here we go. Ryan Fancy, hey, you all took Melbourne. Eat shit. Yes, mate. Well done. Congratulations. And the reason we took Melbourne was because last week, they flogged the Tigers 64-0. You expect Melbourne to back that up. You expect them to come in here and go,
Yeah, well,
just,
you expect them to back that up everywhere.
yeah,
Like really,
exactly.
like that's what we've got to know with
Yeah,
the Storm over the last 25, 30 years. How yeah, 90s or whatever. Like
yeah, it's
it's just
crazy.
it's just
Melbourne have always been such a force, and then to see them play a game like this, where they made too many errors, but the Sharks were just up. The Sharks were just up for it. I thought Nico was really good. I thought Adam Fanua-Blake was really good. So credit to the Sharks. They've moved into the top four. Melbourne have dropped out of the top four now,
that's
which
a rare sight.
yes, which is a very rare sight. So very, very good to see. Mate, we'll jump into some Sunday Arvo footy, of course, today, time of recording. St. George Dragons against the Broncos. Now the Dragons, this was my upset of the week, and I got it right. Dragons getting it done 30-26. Now I don't know if this says more about the Dragons or the Bronx, because for me, the Broncos at the moment are just looking atrocious, and Origin won't help. They're going to lose Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, most likely a few others as well, so and Cobbo. So there's going to be a lot of
Why? Like, why are they atrocious? They have a brilliant lineup. Why are they
They
not
do.
gelling?
I I could
Madge
not
pushing
tell
them too
you.
hard.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hearing. That's all the talk at the moment is that Madge is pushing him too hard at training. There's a lot of players who are off him at the moment. Of course, we won't talk too much about this, but the return of the prodigal son, Ezra Mam, scored a try, of course, which was
Mm,
fantastic to see. But look, he was arguably the best player on ground.
mm.
And everyone's divided on opinion. I personally don't think he should be playing another game, but he is, and that's fine.
We can speculate. It's
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
you know,
Each to their own.
personally, I think with all that's transpired, um, like he doesn't have any choice but to
Yeah,
be the best
yeah,
on the ground. If he's going to be picked after all that,
that's
he
right.
has to give 100 and actually no, not even 100, 200%
Yeah,
per
yeah,
week,
and
because
he did today.
because yeah, yeah, I don't want to get into it. It was like, yeah, put his stuff like his record aside.
Mm,
Public opinion is he shouldn't be there. If he's going to be there, turn up every week and
yeah.
be better than everyone else.
I got to agree, but look, credit to the Dragons because they were losing this game. They were down quite a bit, but mate, Jacob Little at the Dragons number 9, he is absolutely flying. Scores a try every week. He's always good in my multis. But Dragons, credit to them, getting it done 30-26. It
That's good
comes
to see.
down. It comes down, mate, to the Broncos not playing a Thursday or Friday night game. Whenever they play a Sunday game, they lose. So you just got to keep giving them Sunday games, and they'll be at the bottom of the table in no time.
Yeah, they can't come out. Excuse me, they can't come out in the daylight, and it's unusual.
Yeah,
And
they're allergic to sunscreen, mate. That's what
yeah,
it is.
they're at Suncorp all the time, but you know, oh well, yeah,
It is what it is, and it was great to see. But our next game, the Gold Coast Titans against the Canberra Raiders. Now, fantastic game. Raiders getting it done 40-24. Started off with the Titans; they were up 6-0, but then it was all the Raiders from that point. They are a team again that has surprised me so much this year, and they are looking fantastic. They're also in the top four. Sticky Ricky, I don't know what's happening over there in Canberra, but he has these players absolutely firing, and for such a young side as well. Like it's really good to see young guys playing this well. So
probably sick of being yelled at.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on the bad end of Rick. But yeah, look, credit to the Raiders. They are flying at the moment. Again, may lose one or two for Origin. Probably just more Hudson Young. Probably don't have too many actually, which is good for them because I think they can dominate over the next few weeks. The Gold Coast Titans, on the other hand, they're going to lose Tino. They're going to probably lose Mo Fodawaker as well, which damages them a lot. Losing two of their big forwards, they're already struggling as it is. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough to see where they go from here. But the Titans, I think Desi is under a bit of pressure. We talk about
Yeah,
O'Brien being under pressure. I think Des has to be as well. So, for me, they're the two coaches that are definitely under pressure. But mate, jump into our final game: the South Sydney Rabbitohs against the Tigers. Bunny's getting it done. We
yeah,
called on the pod. Shout out to Luke and his lovely fiance Shani. We
yeah.
call it
The Shiny Cup.
the Shani Cup because they go for opposite teams. So it was
Yeah,
very good to
had a
see.
bit of a chat about this, haven't we? Yeah.
We did, mate. We did, and Shani took the chocolates this week. Rabbits getting it done 22-12. You had a bit to say in the chat, and I really liked it about the Tigers. I thought after last week they lost 64-0. I
Mm,
expected them to come out this week and go, "We're going to win this game no matter what. We're going to come out here. We're going to show that we're not pretenders." But they've come out and they haven't done that.
mm.
They dropped a lot of ball. The cohesion just still isn't there. I don't know if
In
it's the
in
whole
yeah, in
Galvin
parts it
saga
probably
or what.
is I mentioned to you that the Galvin thing might have passed
Mm,
to some degree, and he's back and he's doing his thing. There's probably lingering things, and there's flashes of brilliance.
yeah.
But like I said to you, there was I can't remember which minute it was, but I saw a replay and I saw most of this game, but I walked away for some of it. But it was like multiple opportunities where Souths dropped the ball
Mm.
and they regained possession, like probably 3 or 4 times. They still went through.
Yeah, crazy. It's
Just
yeah,
just
look.
just attack it. If you
Yeah.
force if you force a penalty, so what? You know, just
The
start again.
uh, the big talking point from this game, Terrell May, he had another absolute blinder in this game. Of course, if you do play NRL fantasy, you got 109. If you play Supercoach, you got 121. So he carved up again, but it's looking likely he won't get picked for Origin as well. So very interesting there for
It's
Terrell.
just
But
like, yeah, I just like, am I wrong though? This is like,
you're
if
not wrong.
the ball is traveling free, I would just be attacking it and taking the risk.
Yeah,
If there's a penalty against you, so what? Everyone gets a restart. You can reform your line and go again. Like if they get through, they get through. But you have an opportunity. If instead of being flustered,
mm,
attack the fucking ball.
mate. I think last week really took it out of them. Melbourne
Mm,
destroyed them 64-0, and I think that really hurt them. I don't think they've been able to to recover from that. Ryan Fancy, he did not get picked. Yeah, that's what we're saying, mate. I don't think Terrell would have got picked. Laurie came out and was sort of saying, probably wasn't going to go down that line. He didn't help himself really, did he, with the video game thing when he was streaming, and he
no,
he sort of called out about
get off
Origin
social
selection.
media. Just get
Yeah,
off social
exactly.
media.
I
Just
think. I think I
just
think
get
footy
off it.
players I think footy players
Let your
need to
game speak for
yeah,
yourself. Like, come
yeah,
on.
exactly. Shout out to the Blue and Gold Army podcast who wrote Addo Car Robbed. So Addo probably not picked for State of Origin. I don't think he was in calculations this year, mate. I mean, look, you might say he was robbed, but I think you got Zach Lomax, didn't you? And he's at Para now, so you got one
Mm.
winger in there. But mate, that is it for the Ruck Report. If there are any comments, please drop them below as we finish up. Just before we do finish up, don't forget you can check us out on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. We're using Instagram Live for this one, but head over to Spotify. This will also be available on YouTube, so you can catch up and watch it in your own time. So head over there, give us a like, subscribe, follow us, and of course, producer Reese, you're off to Bali, mate.
Yeah, me and my cousin fly out tomorrow.
Very
Yeah,
exciting. So,
yeah, about 4:30 in the afternoon. So what I'll do is I'll do a little video for the
oh,
pod. I'll
mate,
just
we're
I'll
excited.
pick and choose the time. We'll just have a bit of fun with it. I think we're doing pretty well at the moment, so it's probably worth it having just a little bit of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that, mate. We appreciate it. Of course, if you are still listening, we will be recording tomorrow night, so drop your listener questions in when the post does drop. Before we go, Rugby League Therapy Podcast said, if Jermaine Hopgood gets picked for Queensland, I'll be watching my language. Bondi Malat said, Ronaldo now sponsored by dairy farmers milking shit left, right, and centre. Oh, I love it. I love it, guys. I love it. Fantastic comments. Yeah, Ronaldo milked it quite a bit with Rugby League Therapy Podcast, mate. I don't think Hopgood is a shoe in for Queensland, not the form he's in this year. But until next time, that's Reese. I'm Joey. Be good.